Welcome to the TOEFL Listening section. In this section, you will listen to an academic lecture and then answer questions about what you heard. You may take notes while you listen. You will have time to review your notes before answering the questions. Listen to part of a lecture in a university class. You will hear the lecture only once, so listen carefully. After the lecture, you will answer some questions about what you heard. Some questions ask about the main ideas and supporting details. Other questions ask you to make inferences or connections between ideas. Answer each question based on what is stated or implied in the lecture.
Good morning, class. Today we will examine castle defense systems in the medieval period and explore how military architecture responded to the demands of siege warfare. I want to emphasize that a castle is more than a residence. It is a complex defensive machine composed of interlocking systems that include walls, towers, gate complexes, moats, and internal keeps. We begin with the curtain wall. A curtain wall connects towers and creates a continuous defensive face. Its thickness and height mattered for resisting scaling, battering rams, and later cannon fire. Towers provided flanking fire. Placed at intervals along the curtain wall, towers allowed defenders to shoot along the face of the wall and eliminate blind spots. Notice how rounded towers became more common because they deflected projectiles better than square towers. The gatehouse is the most vulnerable part of any castle, and therefore the most complex. A typical gate complex included a barbican, a portcullis, a heavy wooden gate, murder holes, and multiple successive doors that forced attackers into a confined killing zone. Machicolations are stone projections above gateways and curtain walls with openings in the floor. Defenders could drop stones or boiling liquids straight down onto attackers at the base of the wall. This is an example of vertical defense. Arrow slits and embrasures are narrow vertical openings that allowed archers to fire while remaining protected. Over time, these were adapted into larger gun ports when handheld firearms and small cannon appeared. Moats and ditches performed several functions. They hindered siege engines, prevented undermining of foundations, and slowed infantry approaches. A deep water-filled moat could make sapping nearly impossible. The concentric castle is a key case study. Castles like Krak, Chevaliers, and Beaumaris have two or more rings of defensive walls. Concentric design meant that an attacker had to breach an outer wall and then immediately face another strong defensive ring behind it. Keeps remained important as last refuges. In some designs, the keep was central and dominant. In late medieval fortifications, the keep could be abandoned as the main stronghold in favor of multiple layers of curtain walls. Another adaptation was the use of earthworks and angled bastions to absorb and deflect artillery. Instead of tall, thin stone walls, later medieval engineers built lower, thicker walls backed by earth to resist cannon shot. Siege warfare included mining, siege towers, battering rams, and the use of trebuchets. Defenders countered mining with countermines and listening galleries. Some castles had galleries built into the ditch to allow defenders to fight back underground. Logistics also influenced defense. Stores of food and water, access to a well, and room for garrison troops all determined how long a castle could hold out during a siege. Regional examples show variation. The castles of the Crusader states like Krak de Chevaliers emphasize concentric planning and massive stonework. Welsh castles such as Beaumaris display sophisticated gatehouses and concentric rings adapted to local terrain. Finally, remember that castle design was iterative. Architects learned from sieges and from new weapons. Features like machicolations, barbicans, and angled bastions are responses to specific threats posed by siege engines and by attackers' tactics. In our next session, we will analyze a specific siege and reconstruct how each defensive element performed under attack. For now, focus on how the systems work together to create depth, interlocking fields of fire, and redundancy in defense.
Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
Concentric design meant that an attacker had to breach an outer wall and then immediately face another strong defensive ring behind it.
This concludes the listening section. For more TOEFL practice tests and study materials, visit spinta.org.